the People's Podcast. What's up, good people? It's your boy DJ Busby.
And it's your boy JKD.
And this is the People's Podcast. And we are back with another episode just after an epic episode last week. It was episode number 2, and y'all saw the special guest. Big up to my brother Kevin Crown, man.
Yes, man. Big up Kevin Crown.
How you like the episode?
It's wicked, man. It was great to sit down with him for about almost 2 hours and just, pick his brain, get his, get to know who Kevin Crown is on a personal level.
Yeah, and you guys hear a lot of stories that you would never hear otherwise.
Right.
If it wasn't for an interview.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people will see, as we said in the interview, the likes, the big stage shows and him touring around the world, but you don't see what it took for him to get to that point.
Right.
So want to salute to Kevin Crown. It was a very in-depth discussion that I think a lot of you guys had a lot of takeaways from, and you don't have to be a DJ or a world touring DJ or an aspiring one to have taken gems from that podcast.
Exactly.
So all the entrepreneurs out there, all the people, good people, we thank you for watching that episode and thank you for your feedback. If you didn't watch it, we interviewed one of the best DJs in our industry, Kevin Crown, and you can find that on our YouTube page, SoundCloud, and Spotify.
Yes, sir.
So today we're here for, I think, our first episode where we kick it.
Yeah.
And we talk about the topics that we mentioned that we're going to speak about.
Right.
So, after the interview episodes, we're going to come here and talk about some topics that we think are important discussions that need to be had in order to better the lives of the people of our culture.
Yeah.
So those topics, as we mentioned, are stuff like relationships,
Right.
which are not just, it's not, it's not just that. All right. It's not just women and a man and a woman. It could be anything, business relationships. It could be friendships, etc.
Right.
We also got to talk about wealth and how we build generational wealth and the things revolving around that, entertainment and health.
Yes.
So let's get it kicked off.
Yeah, man.
We both are responsible for a couple topics today. So I'll start with the wealth aspect of things.
Right.
Which is a very important thing, as I'm sure a lot of you are noticing as you go in to fill up your car.
Right? Everybody's broke these days. We're all broke.
When you go and check your money and your bank account and wonder why it's a little low, but you've been doing everything the same.
Facts.
Well, we're here to explain exactly why and some reasons as to why your money may be depleting a lot quicker than normal.
Right.
So before we talk about any wealth segments on this podcast, we're supposed to have a disclaimer.
Right.
Now, I don't have one written up with all the fancy bravado in the words, but it's basically going to say, in so many words, do your own damn research and do not come to us if anything happens to your money because you took advice from something you didn't do your personal research on.
Right.
And actually understand the importance of financial responsibility and where to put your money.
Facts. And don't try to sue us because we'll win.
Yeah, we just recorded it. That what I said was very dumbed down, but it will work in a court of law. I promise you that. So it's not to say that what we're giving is bad advice. This is sound advice and something that you'll realize is practical once I've gone through what I have to say.
Right.
So anyway, as we get things started, it's the People's Podcast. And in the first section of today's podcast, we'll talk about wealth. Now, as I said, you guys should notice going to your local gas station or what have you, if you have a car, or if you go to groceries, which you should, because everybody needs to eat.
Right.
Or if you're buying Uber Eats or some sort of meal, you're noticing that the price of everything, more or less, has gone up. All right. And the word they use to describe what's happening there is called inflation.
Yes, sir. Bun inflation, March 25th. Shameless plug. Sorry.
Yeah. It's good. $10 ticket, soon to be 12.
Don't tell them, bro. Don't tell
If
them.
inflation rises, we gotta rise the prices.
Soon to be $25. Just kidding.
But inflation, people, is more or less, it could be various reasons as to why the prices of stuff are going up.
Right.
In particular, as I keep mentioning gas, gas prices are rising even more these days. And that's as a consequence of the war that's going on between Russia and Ukraine.
Right.
or the attacks that Russia is doing on the Ukraine, I should say. And, gas is expected to exceed 1.61 cents or more this week at the time of this podcast. And we don't even know how high that's going.
Right.
And what do you need to drive your car? You need some gas.
Gasoline.
Right? The prices of groceries, as you guys see, fruits and those type of things. I'm pretty sure even the convoy thing had a part in the rise of those prices.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
So a lot of different factors could contribute, which could come out of left field, as you guys have seen.
Right.
Nobody was people could have expected that it could have happened with Russia and Ukraine.
Right.
But those type of things just happen at the whim. So I'm trying to get you guys to the point where you're not in prepare mode,
right,
so to speak. I want to get you to the point where you're ready for these type of situations because it could happen at any time. Right. So with that being said, the price of all these goods have gone up. And I used this example in the first episode that we did, but I'll kind of give a more in-depth aspect to it. So let's say you have $100 bill, JKD.
Right.
And you use that $100 bill and buy your entire family groceries in 2019.
Yes.
Right? So you have whatever you get for groceries, your steak, your vegetables, your cookies for the kids.
Right.
And that $100 will get you to just enough to pay for those groceries.
Right.
But now that we're in 2022, and those same groceries are now about $3 or $4 more each item.
Yep.
Plus, that same $100 that you use to just get you by to buy each of those items, can you use that exact same $100 bill if you were holding it from 2019 to 2022? Can you use that money to buy the same groceries?
No, absolutely not.
You would need more money.
Yes.
So that is what they call your money is depreciating if you're just holding on to it.
Right.
Right? And an important thing to understand is financial assets and putting your money into investments or investing your money into financial assets that grow your money. Right. So my money, if it's just sitting in my pocket over time, it's not going to be worth the same.
Right.
So your bread is depleting more or less. But instead of keeping it in my pocket or the bank, worse off, I could take that same $100 and put it into a financial investment. Like, let's say, investing in stocks.
Right.
There's more volatile ones that might make you more returns, but you could also lose a lot.
Right.
Like crypto, NFTs. There's I think it's called REITs, real estate investments.
Yeah, real estate investment trust. You
Yeah.
can invest in those as well.
Exactly. So these are just a few options that I've mentioned. Now, personally, I am extremely low risk when it comes to my money.
Yeah, you play it safe.
Very safe. Because I don't like leaving my money in the hands of just anything.
Right.
But if I'm going to do these practical steps that I need in order for my money to grow over time with inflation so that I'm not operating at a loss,
right,
I would rather put it into a more safe place than, just risking all of my life savings into something that's either not tried or not proven as yet.
Right.
And for this particular section of the podcast, I wanted to talk to you guys about more safe options that after I've done some research. Now, again, I still have plenty more research to do myself, but a lot of you guys that do financial investments could probably agree with a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be saying here, which is, putting your money into what they call, I believe it's index funds, ETFs, S&P 500, and those are a few safe methods in the stock market that you could apply to.
What's an index?
Well, and I'll get into those specifics.
Okay.
But in the first place, a lot of people will hear those words like I did at first,
right,
and be like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?"
Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Well, so, I didn't know at the time what you were talking about because I remember you talking to me about those.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is an index?
Believe me.
Is it this?
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're just not gonna grow up then. All right. People, he just threw the middle finger on YouTube. All right? Go check out our YouTube page. That's not even an index. That's the middle finger. There was no point for that. This guy. All right. So a lot of people will hear those terms and then be turned off because it's like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Right.
Believe me, I was you at one point in time. So I'm going to take you back to the practical steps of even getting to that point. So one thing that I learned where we are here in Canada, Toronto, Canada, I believe a popular app in terms of investing is Wealth Simple.
Right.
Now you could deduce, the benefits, the pros and cons versus a bank who you could also trade with.
Right.
But what each person is allocated thanks to, well, not thanks, but due to, I guess the government's allowance per person,
Yeah.
you are allowed, each individual, a tax-free savings account where you could invest your money from this safe haven, so to speak, of a tax-free savings account and invest into companies through that space so that when your money grows over time, like let's just say you do trades or withdraw your money is not taxed in that amount of money that the government allows you.
Right.
Now, I believe as of 2021, everybody over the age of 30 was allowed $75,000 within this tax-free savings account.
Okay.
I believe now they add $6,000 a year, so it's I think 6,500 or something. So
Okay.
So it's 81,500.
Right.
Don't take my word on that exact number, but it's around that ballpark.
Okay.
So you're allowed and allocated this space per individual, right? And that savings fund that you have, you could start to contribute to the tax-free savings account that you're allowed, and you could only go up to that cap in order to invest.
Right.
So with Wealth Simple, you could do your research again, go on YouTube. There's this amazing thing, guys. It's called YouTube. You can figure out pretty much anything.
Right.
Go on YouTube, type in Wealth Simple, how to set up an account. You could even do it just by reading the little prompts that come up, but it basically attaches your name by SIN number, etc., to an account on Wealth Simple, which is a sort of marketplace for trading. Okay. So between the hours of, I believe, 9:45 or 10 o'clock a.m. and 4 p.m. every day, you are able to go into this app, and I believe if you sign up for premium, which is like $3 per month, you could see real lifetime like stocks going up and down.
Right.
So the stock market is huge. There's people like your favorite products. What are you listening to this podcast right now on? Probably your Apple phone.
Right.
Your iPhone. Apple is in the stock market. They're a publicly traded company.
Right.
So you can invest in a company like Apple. And if you got their phone, it's probably a good idea to be investing in them.
Facts.
The one thing I heard that was pretty dope was a mentor in this space. He asked a younger guy, yo, those are some nice Nikes. How much Nikes you have at home? The kid said something like 400 pairs. Right. Sound like JKD in his prime. And the guy was like, okay, 400 pairs, but do you have any stock in Nike? Right. The kid's like, nah, I like shoes. The guy told him, yo, if you bought at least what you paid for 200 of those shoes in stocks, that amount of stocks at this point could have paid for your other 200 shoes.
Absolutely.
So these are the type of things you want to think about as well. What are you invested to? What companies are big in the market? Right. And you could invest your money in safer places. Right. So the one I mentioned, Apple, they are like the cartel of this space. They have enough money. One thing I heard about them, I believe it was Ian Dunlap. Big up Ian Dunlap, the master investor. He had said Apple has enough money, literally if they wanted to buy Tesla if they didn't like Elon Musk. Wow. They have enough money to buy Tesla, crumple it up, and throw it away.
Damn.
And y'all see how big Tesla is out here on these streets. Right. You know what I'm saying? So there are safer places to keep your money in the stock market. A few that I've always heard that are popular places is Apple, Microsoft, and then now what we'll talk about, which are ETFs and index funds and S&P 500s. So these terms that I mentioned earlier, the abbreviated version of that is like, let's put it into terms for our people that they could understand. Okay. Now in this city, we have a bunch of different DJs, right? Right. Now let's just say you wanted to invest in the DJs. Right. So you're going to pick your favorite DJs now who you want to invest in, but not only your favorite, who you think have potential to really make it big. Because if you put your money into a JKD who you think is going to be huge, then when he is huge, your money will have a bigger return. Right. Right. Yeah. So let's say now it's like 10 of us DJs standing here, and you guys pick which one you want. So you pick out a JKD. Right. Right? And you put all your eggs in JKD's back. You say, yo, JKD is going to be it. I trust him. I got it under control. I know what's going on with JKD. But then JKD, knock on wood, something happens to you.
Right.
Whether it be your past or your life gets to you and you have to be with your family,
Right.
you can't do nothing.
Right.
But you've already invested out there all your eggs into JKD's basket.
Right.
But now there's 9 other DJs standing here, but you done lost your money with JKD. What an index fund and S&P 500 and those and ETFs, what they are is like a conglomerate.
Okay.
Where if Delhi was managing all 10 of us, or even like 8 out of 10 of us, right? I could pay Delhi a lump sum of money, maybe like a $400, and he could take that $400 and invest it wisely.
Right.
Between 8 out of the 10 people.
Okay.
So what are the chances of JKD flopping out versus 8 out of the 10 DJs in the market flopping out, right?
Right.
Much less chance.
Right.
Another thing I heard in that regard is the stock market. I had this question too at the start. Well, what if I put my money in the stock market and all of it just vanishes? The stock market crashes. What do I do?
Right.
And the way this guy put it, he's somebody on YouTube. I think his name is Ali.
Yeah.
He said, if you are really worried about something like that, you got to consider the fact that if your money depletes to zero, that would mean the top 5 companies in America, the Apples, Microsoft, Netflix, I think, whoever else, Google, if all 5 of those companies would have to go to ground zero.
Yeah, I believe that, bro, because I remember my wife saying something like in order for you to lose all your money, like the world would have to go into like a apocalypse or something like that.
Exactly. And the guy was saying the world would literally be in an apocalyptic situation to the point where money is as good as toilet paper. So you would have a lot bigger worries than your money being tied up in investment funds.
Right.
But I say all of that to say those methods, so you could type this in YouTube, ETFs, index funds, and S&P 500. You could type those and what are the more popular ones to put your money into. That's a safer way because you're investing into the top, S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in the States.
So let me ask you this question because you said that those things, somebody will take your money and invest it and divvy it up into those things. Now, how do they get their money?
I believe they would take a cut out of that.
Okay.
They would. You give them the 400 example, $400, right?
Right.
So out of that 400, as your money grows, or part of investing into them is their payment.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't think they're just doing this out of the kindness of their heart.
Yeah.
These are companies with like the top of the line employees dedicated to doing this.
Okay.
And some like certain ones will be heavily invested into tech. So if you're in that space and you're a very techie person, even if you're not, I still suggest you look up the potential because we all see where the world is going.
Right.
A profound thing that when I was doing my research was a lot of people today, what do they consider the kids? You know what I mean? They're very tech oriented.
Right.
You at 2 years old, you had a little ball and toys to play with. These 2-year-olds are masters of like the iPad.
Exactly.
They could probably know how to unlock your phone and go on whatever game they want. They're tech experts, technically.
Right.
My niece know how to use those things better than my parents.
Right.
But if you fast forward into the future now, can you imagine something like VR?
Yeah, exactly.
And if the kids are glued to their phone, not even just kids, people these days are glued to their phone like that. Can you imagine how it's going to be when there's a virtual reality where it takes you away from the stresses of life?
Right.
They're going to be on that tenfold, more than the phones.
Yeah.
So you want to really study that space, right? The S&P 500 is what I'm more into when it comes to the money that I'm investing.
Okay.
Because again, it's a safer place, and I believe the percent increase is 8% more or less.
Okay.
Whereas inflation, I think, is at 6%.
Right.
So even though it's not a huge like difference between 6 and 8. It's a lot better than 0 and 6. Right? Your money is going to be depleting over time if it's not in a financial asset.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to close. I know I want to get your feedback on it a little bit as well, whatever you can contribute. But that's what I want to close the wealth aspect of things for. Okay. Not necessarily go and dump everything into S&P 500. But I think personally that's a safe starting point to really get your feet wet.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And either way, the point of all of what I'm saying is start training your minds to think about placing any money that you're not using per se into S&P 500s, ETFs, index funds, or just financial assets, period.
Right. Okay.
You know, that starting point is important though.
Right.
So what about you? What do you think about that?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Like I know you talked about the Fortune 500 companies. Like, do you do your own research with those companies itself? And do you get reports? Like, can you see reports of where exactly your money is going within those, those 500 Fortune companies?
That's a great question. And there was something I forgot to mention too. That's important. So that safe haven of the money that you're allowed to keep in a TSFA that I was mentioning, the 81,500.
Yeah.
Let's just say you have that
Right.
and you put all of that into your tax-free savings account.
Yeah.
If you withdraw any amount from that,
You get taxed.
you can't put it back.
Right.
You don't get taxed.
Oh, you can't
You just can't put it right back.
Okay. Okay.
I believe you have to wait till the start of the calendar year, the following year,
Okay.
in order to put back whatever you took out.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So that's important to keep in mind.
So you don't get taxed on the money you take out?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because tax-free savings account, right?
Yeah, but if you take it, isn't it supposed to be in your tax-free savings account for a certain period of time? No, you can take it out whenever.
You can take it. You can throw it all in and take it all out.
Okay,
but if you take it all out, you just can't put it back in until January next year.
Right. Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind. But to your question now, while you guys are doing your research, you could also, and this is speaking about the stock market. We haven't even talked about crypto and stuff like that until probably the next episode down the line. But you could have apps like Yahoo Finance. Big up on my boy Andre, Travel with Poppy. He really got me into a lot of this stuff. I actually called him one night because I got interested about this stuff.
Yeah.
And as I'm seeing inflation rise, I'm like, okay, I need to be smarter with my money.
Right.
So when I asked him, because I heard he was, he's knowledgeable in the space, he was showing me a lot of things. Like you could have Yahoo Finance on your phone right now.
Right.
You don't need a special app where you connect your bank account and stuff.
Right.
You could have Yahoo Finance and look at all of these things I'm talking about.
Right.
So you could go in there and type in Apple and see like a full lifespan of the business, how it's gone up over time, and stuff that's in that trajectory of always going up is probably a safe bet.
Right.
Because if it's always going up, what do you think is going to happen in 10 to 20 years? Right. But if you break to your question, if you actually go into, let's just say, an S&P 500, and you actually open it up, you could see a breakdown. So it will say who's part of this S&P 500. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Apple, we'll devote 3% of what money you give us to Apple.
Right.
Google will devote 2%.
Right.
And et cetera down the line.
Okay.
And obviously, like the ones that have a better return, they'll place more of your money into those.
Right.
Whereas other ones who they still think are safe, they'll place less money into those.
Right.
But your money is spread out over, a large group of the biggest players in the world.
Right.
So to me, after researching those options, I found that was a really safe way of investing my money and watching it grow and not feeling the risk of like, okay, well, what if I do this wrong move and all of my money goes to ish?
Right.
Right. This is at least an option. This is more what I'm talking about, people, is more of a long-term option.
Right.
I got drawn into these things, like just mentioning it to him, and he was looking into it. And I believe you even said you were thinking about starting that, but for your kids.
For my kids, yeah.
That's a good look.
Yeah, man. I just felt that, growing up, our parents never did that for us. Most of the things I had to pay for, like school and all that stuff. So if we're going to be a community that changes, it starts with us.
Facts.
Right? So I said I wanted to invest into some stocks for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Even some property, like later down the road, I eventually want to buy a property in my child's name.
Yeah.
That way when they grow up, they're financially stable.
No, it's dope, man. And you clearly got you're the right track.
Yeah.
On the right track.
Right. But one thing you mentioned to me, and I'm gonna start looking into it, is like because you said I should buy stocks that are that my daughters are interested in. So for example, my one daughter is interested in Paw Patrol. You know, I started to look into Nickelodeon because Nickelodeon bought Paw Patrol, right? Things like Baby Shark, you know, I started looking into that, you know, and I'm gonna start buying a little bit of stocks here and there, you know.
Yeah, and that's a perfect way to teach your children that side of things. You could legit say to your child, hey, what are your favorite? I know your favorite show is Paw Patrol.
Right.
Did you know that if you buy, this item,
right,
you might want to fluff it up for the kids,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
But if you buy this, then, or if you get good grades in school, I could buy you this, and this means that you own this character.
Right.
You own Sky. You own Chase. I got a niece. I know these things too. You own Sky and characters. You own Sky and Chase. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And that will start to get it in their heads because technically speaking, and this is another part of the question that I didn't get to answering yet that you asked, but another part of what I'm talking about is if you buy stocks in a company,
right,
technically speaking, you are now a shareholder in that company.
Right.
So even if you have one stock or something, you could even buy a fractional stock. Yeah. There's stuff like Google when you guys do your research and you're going to see Google at $3,000 a stock. Well, not everybody can afford $3,000 a stock.
Right.
But with Wealth Simple, there's an option where you could buy a fraction of a stock.
Okay.
So you could, I think, spend down to $1.
Right.
And still get some benefits out of investing your money, even if you don't have 300.
Right.
So to answer your question now, certain stocks have, I think it's Class A and Class B.
Okay.
So Class B, you get access to like reports, I think quarterly.
Okay.
But Class A now, you not only get those reports quarterly, but you could actually sit in virtually on meetings that happen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you're now able to, there's, I believe, a voting system on certain things that need to happen.
Right.
You now have the capability of voting in that company.
Okay.
And you were asking, like, do I do my own research on these companies?
Yeah.
Funny enough, like, as I said, I'm in the tech space because that's a lot of my interest.
Right.
But personally speaking, a lot of the content I absorb was going through that kind of information anyway.
Okay.
Like, if you looked at my YouTube page, my YouTube subscribe page, a lot of it is tech and news around tech.
Right.
So the stuff that I need in order to keep on top of my research within these spaces, I'm already consuming.
Okay.
So these are the type of things, like, it goes with anything. Utilize what you have and build on it.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And that's just where I want you guys to start when it comes to wealth, because as I said, you guys are seeing the prices of everything rise.
Right.
It does not make any sense to keep your money in a shoebox.
True.
It does not make sense to keep your money in a bank where your money is depleting while they're charging you to keep your money in that space and using your money to make more money.
Facts.
Like, if anybody else was doing that, could you imagine out there, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad was like, no, it's okay if you want you're somewhere safe to hold your money, let me hold it. And then you found out after the fact, bro, you invested all my money into, excuse me? That's problems, no?
Right. Yeah, it is.
And some people have no clue about that aspect of things with banks. Right. So it's important to keep those things in mind. But the point of this section was invest your money into financial assets that will help your money grow and beat inflation.
Right. Just when you said that, it brought me back to the show Wu-Tang. Remember the show Wu-Tang? And you remember when RZA accepted the deal on behalf of ODB. Remember ODB wanted to sign with another label. And RZA's like, no, sign with this, because RZA saw the benefits after the fact. We're going to be better. He knew long term that deal was going to be better. And not just for ODB, his family, his kids, everything. It was setting them up. But at the moment, ODB said not, he didn't want to take that deal because he just wanted to live in that moment.
Facts. And that's the power of understanding your worth, understanding the market, and understanding the trajectory of where the world is going. And
absolutely,
that's what this platform is for, to kind of help people that may not necessarily care about those type of things.
Right.
But it's stuff that you guys really need to start paying attention to, especially if we want to build generational wealth.
Exactly.
We want to give our kids opportunities we didn't have.
Right.
So anyway, we can move on to one of your talking points.
Yes, sir.
And I believe the first one you got was what, relationships, huh?
Relationships, yeah. And not just any type of relationship. I'm not talking about no man and woman today.
Okay.
Not talking about the birds and the bees today.
That's what the people was expecting.
Nah, but I'm not talking about that today. I'm not talking about that. I think we need to get a special guest to do that segment with somebody who understands that.
Yeah, I definitely shouldn't be talking about no birds and no bees.
You know what I'm saying? But I did want to talk about business relationships.
Interesting.
We're all in a business. You have a business. You register your business. Correct. I register my business. Deli, you have a business. You know what I'm saying?
Easy.
And to be honest, in our culture, we don't want to work with other businesses. That's just how it is. It's a crab.
Dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog, crab in the bucket mentality. Mm-hmm. But we're a generation of change, and we need to change our mindset when it comes to business relationships.
Yeah.
We have to focus on building each other up in order to grow, in order to reach a more larger market. And while we grow, our investments, our money, everything grows, right? So yeah, we as a culture need to get into the habit of seeing other businesses as more of help than more of a threat, especially in the line of business that we're in, this DJ business. A lot of us, especially in Toronto, tend to want to do things on our own. But we have to get, especially if we want to raise a culture of change, we have to get out of that mindset of like, yo, like you need me, I need you, let's grow together. Let's get this done. You get what I'm saying?
So are you talking about us working together like from the foundation aspect of each other, or getting corporate sponsorship and those type of things?
Both. But but to your first point, yes, in terms of us growing together, just like how me and you linked up, we have the kind of same mindset. Obviously, I'm not saying just to join anybody, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying just to join anybody, but I'm just saying like we have to get in a habit of picking the correct or aligning ourselves with the correct businesses that we want to align with.
So you're saying to align with people, but people with like minds and
exactly
with the same sort of vision.
Right.
Got you.
Right. And I find that when something does happen, like, we are quick to go to another culture. I'm gonna say like we're quick to use somebody of a different. No, but it's true. It's true. We're quick.
People's podcast. This is not pre-pre.
We're quick to use a person of Caucasian, color or Asian. No, but I'm just. I'm hearing you. I'm not being racist.
You're not. You chose the right words. You chose the right words. You know how you would have wild out before on the preview line. Just trying to tread slowly.
But we need to develop this guy. But we need to develop relationships that can lead into profit and to more gains, bro. That's all I'm saying. Prime example, I was watching Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to those guys. They had a lady by the name of Miss Diddy. I'm not sure if you saw that episode.
I'm not sure.
So Miss Diddy, she calls herself Miss Diddy because she's like pretty much like P. Diddy, bro. Like she runs a lot of businesses. But how she started, she was basically a promoter, like in clubs.
For clubs? Wow.
For clubs. And long story short, she was on the promo team for Kanye West's first album, which is College Dropout. She was on that promo team.
One of my faves.
And just through that, she began to develop links and to run like major events, bro. Like companies like BET, companies like Essence are calling her and saying, listen, like we want you to handle our events. And we're not talking about
baby ones,
little events. We're talking about large scale events where like their budgets are like $500,000, $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And she is where she is, but all because of that link that she got with Kanye.
Yeah.
And that's just to say, like, she didn't get there just by, just being there. She had to make the right connections. She had to make business relationships, and she had to keep business relationships in order where she is right now.
Got you.
So, here are some good things, some good advice I came across in order to maintain a good, good business relationship. Number one, is to connect first, connect with the right person first. Don't just jump into a business relationship just because of the quick cash, just because it benefits you only. No, it has to benefit the other business as well, so you guys can grow. Learn by listening. Learn by listening. That's a key one. Why? So. Why? Because some of us don't listen.
People be talking too much. You need to open your ears sometimes instead of just yapping.
Some of us don't listen, and some of us don't take the time to actually walk in that other business shoes. You know what I'm saying? The third one, share information. Share information. If we're gonna be a culture of change, what is the purpose of holding that information to yourself?
I could tell you what some people's perception is. If I give that information to you, you're gonna take that and kill me with it. If you're my competitor, if I give you all the tricks of the trade and the secrets, you could take that and kill me with it.
But that's if that was your competitor.
One. And two, my counterpoint to that is if you're good enough, you'll always be good enough. If you're great,
right,
you'll always be great. And I'm not talking in the sense of you're never going to mess up.
Right.
You will always win at the end of the day. And the reality of the fact is, in order to achieve greatness, a lot of us already know the steps. Some of y'all are hoping for that secret gem that's going to change your life, which in certain cases, yes, that could happen.
Yeah.
But some stuff is very simple. In order to lose weight, stop eating BS and run.
Right.
A lot of us hear that day after day.
Right.
But if you don't put it into practice, it's not going to work out anyway.
Right.
So, in my opinion, I would just put the information out there.
Right.
And the right people are going to take that information and grow.
Right.
As they grow, the entire business grows.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that. But, you know, my time in the industry, a lot of people, but I'm going to tell you this because it's you, Buzz, but don't, shh.
Right.
Keep it a secret. And I've heard people say, like, these are tricks to the trade.
Right.
And, you know, I don't tell this to everybody because, but it's like, why are you stopping the knowledge from rolling?
Right.
And if you told somebody at a young age about those things and didn't have to let them figure it out on their own, they could be a lot further along and everything would be bigger.
Right. It's like our podcast, our last podcast with Kevin Crown. He's like, yo, why do I have to keep music to myself? Like, music is free. Like, you know, it's whatever you do with it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, why am I holding music? I'm giving it away. Yeah.
That's another thing, too. The amount of times I've tried to get songs or samples from certain DJs and always heard a long story. Nah, I'm not supposed to send it out there. Nah. If you don't... Anyway, don't get me upset. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Number 4, it's building trust. That is a difficult one, especially in our culture. Building trust with other companies or other businesses. It's not easy. Nope. It is very not easy. But I mean, once you find that right one, you know, develop a good relationship. I'm not saying the trust is gonna be there right off the bat. It's gonna take some time to build. Yeah. So number 4, building trust. Number 5, I think, is the most important one, is manage yourself, manage your business before you start to help any other business.
I like that one.
Because what's the point of you helping somebody and your business is going on a downfall, or your business is relapsing? You get what I'm saying? What's the point?
You can't pour from an empty glass.
Exactly. So manage your own first, and then begin to help out the others.
I like it. Very interesting talking point.
Yeah, man.
And especially, this industry is very. I don't even know if I would say dog eat dog. I was in the industry when it was really dog eat dog.
Right.
Now it's just a lot of passive aggressive BS that I just don't have the time for.
Right.
It's a lot of people who have way too big of egos that I really don't have time for.
Right.
And I say all of that to say certain people, when you really look at how they operate, we are in this industry as, I would say, the Caribbean industry, correct?
Right.
And if you have more attitude than somebody like a Tyler Perry or a Will Smith,
Right.
and you're more egotistical than those people,
Right.
who the fuck? I'll beep it out. Who are you?
Jeez, dog.
Who are you?
Facts.
So a lot of people need to come off of their high horse, get back to the ground where you belong, and this is a perfect phrase to bring us into the next. I don't know if you have any more talking points.
No, that's it, bro.
But this is the perfect phrase to get us into the next subject.
All right.
And that phrase is something that Donda West, you mentioned Kanye West
Yes.
earlier.
Yeah.
Donda West said in a recent biopic that's on Netflix that I'll talk about in the next section. But she said, you know, you should stay on the ground. And if you keep yourself on the ground, you could be in the air all at the same time.
Yep.
And I thought it was powerful.
Yeah.
And it's facts. A lot of people don't even realize that your blessings are being blocked because of how badly or how poorly you treat people.
Right.
And I can't stand that part of our industry.
Right.
I want to be that change. Me and you talk about so much things on the side where
Right.
when you guys really start to see those ideas come into fruition, you'll understand what I'm doing.
Right.
A lot of people are going to do what they do to build their name and become the king of the mountain.
Right.
I want to be the king of the world.
Right. Right.
Forget the mountain. You keep your mountain.
Exactly.
I want to be the king of, and not just to say I want to do it to be a king.
Right.
But I want to be recognized for being the change that we need. A lot of people are just thrown out to the wolves to say, figure it out. But why can't we be helping
Exactly.
the younger generation grow?
Exactly.
And again, if they learn these tricks of the trade a lot earlier,
Right.
that provides the mental space to think ahead.
Right.
And they could start to think of things that you probably didn't even think about doing.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's an important one that you brought up, man. I like that one. So to get on to the next subject, which is entertainment, and the entertainment section of the People's Podcast, again, is not only entertainment that we think could provide knowledge and value to you,
Right.
but also how we could elevate our entertainment as Caribbeans in the Caribbean industry.
Right.
Now this section in entertainment, I wanted to highlight the show on Netflix starring, I believe, Kanye West and his old videographer. But it's mainly footage of Kanye's career,
Right.
especially from the foundation aspect of things. It's called Jeen Yuhs.
Right.
That is JEEN space YUS or something, YUHS.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a phenomenal body of work. I have extreme appreciation for seeing the ground stages or even hearing stories about the ground stages of what has come to be some of my favorite pieces of content.
Right.
College Dropout, hands down, is one of my top 3 favorite albums of all time.
Right.
Just the story it told, the quality of the music, the message in the music, everything. I thought Kanye was like an absolute genius,
Right.
as the documentary on Netflix suggests. And a lot of what he sang about was not only relatable, but it actually evoked thought.
Right.
It makes you think about things, and it starts to propel your mind in a certain type of way that I like.
Right.
Stimulating, and seeing a lot of what happened to him in the ground stages was crazy, bro. And that ties in exactly to what you're talking about.
Yep.
It's not like I could blow the story because Kanye's out there. You could Google all of what I'm saying.
Right.
But for those of you that don't know the story, a lot of y'all probably think he's just a crazy guy.
Yeah.
Which rightfully so. No, he kind of crazy at times, but to me, his crazy is crazy, but his genius is genius.
Right.
And you have to respect the genius as much as you hate the crazy.
Right.
So in his early stages, like, first of all, he was very close with his mom.
Right.
Like in a lot of the footage, you see his mom standing side by side with him.
Yep.
And like the bigger that he got, the more he had his mom at his side. But his early stages was making beats for Rockefeller.
Yeah.
And Dame Dash was the head of that.
Right.
And he's making these beats and creating monster hits for Jay-Z, monster hits for whoever.
Right.
And Rockefeller wanted to keep him in that bubble.
Right.
And Kanye said, nah, like, I have so much to bring to the table. I don't want to just be doing beats.
Right.
So you're seeing him in this footage that this guy is taking. You're seeing him singing these songs that we all know and love today.
Right.
You're seeing him producing the beats. You're seeing him at his best.
Right.
Making his productions. Bro, the man's taking it into these corporations. And it's hilarious because I would love to see what they have to say today, but he's taking it to the head office.
Right.
And they're not paying him any mind. He's standing there singing his soul out with these songs.
Right.
And they're kind of just like on their computer, on their phone, not nonchalant.
Right.
But he's there like, what are you guys doing? Like, pay attention. This is genius.
Right.
Even down to Dame Dash.
Yeah.
He wasn't caring nothing. Bro, just make your beats. Like, why are you trying to do other stuff?
Right.
Just do what you're good at.
Right.
You'll make it big. Kanye said, nah. Kept going. At the peak of his career, bro, before College Dropout were to come out, he got in that car accident.
Right.
Life completely changed.
Yeah.
He had a wire through his jaw,
Right.
or through his teeth and his jaw or whatever, in order to keep his stuff intact until he healed properly. That's like, and especially his jaw was broken in 3 places.
Right.
You're an artist.
Exactly.
That's terrifying. That's like Kevin Carl last week. You're a DJ, but you just got stabbed in your arm.
Facts.
These are life-changing moments that really, I think, have a huge take on who you become as a person.
Right.
And I say all of that to say, like, you know, he eventually went through that situation. He still went back to Dame Dash and Rockefeller. They still turned him down. Or like, we're kind of just treating him like passive. I don't care about your little projects. Just get back to doing what you do best. They didn't want to invest in him.
Right.
Bro, he pushed through on his own. He finally got through the doors.
Right.
Now y'all see what it is today.
Right.
He is one of the biggest names in the entire world, even though he just changed it to Ye.
Yeah.
You know?
True. Yeah. If it wasn't for him, you know, I'm pretty sure people have seen the two episodes by now. But
3.
Is it 3? Okay. If it wasn't for him actually taking another lane and going a different route, I think Rockefeller would have definitely kept him where he is.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for him saying like, hey, let me go on that MTV thing that he did.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, bro, and if it wasn't for him linking with other artists like Pharrell, like a Ludacris, you know what I'm saying?
And what were you just talking about?
Business relation.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's crazy. Did you see that? Did you watch it?
I watched the first 2.
So you saw the Pharrell moment?
Yes.
I thought that was just like, that was one of the most powerful things I've seen in one of those documentaries.
Right.
And you know, it wasn't too well put because I think he was just at such a shock.
Right. Right.
But the essence of what he was saying was just remarkable.
Right.
And I'll paraphrase it. I don't want to go and put his audio in the podcast, then we get shut down due to copyright.
Right.
But the Pharrell moment, you know, one thing that he said that really stuck out. He was saying, still keep that hunger.
Yeah.
The hunger is to always be like, man, I felt something. I got to put it down. I got to do it. Right. And then you actually go and execute and put it down.
Right.
And as long as you keep the conduit between those 2 places for that energy to flow through,
right,
you'll always be ill.
Right. And
you'll always win for the rest of your life. And he said, I could tell when a guy is really hot, but I could also tell when he has the potential to become complacent.
Right.
And the last thing he said was, all I'm saying is, even when people tell you you're the best and you're the hottest thing in the market, still doubt yourself and still think of where there's room to improve. I thought that was just like, and I sat there watching it, and it's relatable. Ain't no way am I on any of these guys' levels yet.
Right.
But I'm looking at it so relatable because that's where my mind is at.
Right.
And I'm always like that, what he described.
Right, right.
As much people that come and tell me, yo, Buzz, that was so sick, Buzz, this and that.
Right.
Y'all don't realize how much times I'm just sitting here like, I could have done this better.
Right.
I think I mixed this a little off.
Right.
And then worse off now, I go listen to other stuff that's in the lane of what I'm doing. And I'm like, this person didn't even try.
Right, exactly.
And I'm here like killing myself over this little 2 seconds I could have done better in.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to other people's stuff like, yeah,
but those moments are gonna make you great.
Yeah.
Those moments are gonna make you like unstoppable, bro.
Yeah.
So like yeah, I agree with Pharrell said, like, yo, keep that hunger.
Yeah. And I wanna tie it in as well because like Kanye dealt with all that, the life-changing accident.
Yeah.
Rockefeller kind of ignoring him and his passion.
Right.
But another big thing that happened when he got through with Rockefeller and Bus, his mom passed.
Right.
So a lot of people don't realize the kind of toll that would have on an individual.
Right.
Like his mom clearly was all he had.
Yeah.
Right. And that was his best friend.
Right.
He got in an accident that almost completely destroyed his career.
Yep.
These are like some of the craziest scenarios that hopefully none of us have to deal with.
Yeah.
That a lot of people take for granted.
Yep.
And when you sit there and call a man crazy for that, I've called him crazy. I did earlier in this podcast today because some of the stuff legitly, there's problems with what he said.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to start empowering the thought of this person needs help.
Right.
Like let's help this. Let's try and help this person.
Exactly.
Instead of this guy's crazy. He ain't the old Kanye.
Right.
Forget him.
Right.
Because through all of that nonsense, like there was another powerful scene in episode 3 where it's like a news reporter sounded for like the first part of the news report, like he was bashing Kanye.
Okay.
Like Kanye is this and that, Kanye.
Right.
But then coming down to the end of the report, the news reporter was like, well, after hearing all of that, is he really that crazy? Because everything he's talking about, his sound.
Right.
Like he is actually speaking a lot of sense. But a lot of people would prefer just to paint him as crazy.
Right.
So that narrative doesn't get out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that speaks to being true to yourself, regardless of what's happening to you.
True.
Be true, own it.
Right.
And if your intentions are good, you'll be heard through the noise.
Right.
And I say all that to say like being true to yourself and being you as another talking point of this subject. Like we talk about God and, divine timing and certain things that God put us on this earth for. God didn't put us on this earth for you to be the next so-and-so.
Right.
He put you on this earth to be you.
Right.
Anybody could come and try and be the next Michael Jackson.
Right.
There's no point. But you could definitely be whoever artist you want to call.
Right.
You could be the next Beyonce. You don't know how to be Michael Jackson.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's called being true to yourself.
Right.
There's certain things that people will complain about, especially in the space that you mentioned earlier. Oh, well, I did that first. Oh, well, I did that first.
I hear that all the time, bro.
Yeah, but to me, unless you're taking somebody's idea and copying it and doing it either the same day, the same time period as somebody else, then there's a bit of conversation to be had.
Right.
But let's just say you haven't touched this idea in how long, and somebody else takes it and does a better job with it. Who are you to say anything? You haven't done anything with that brand. You don't own anything.
Facts.
And another thing that somebody told me, not even somebody, I think it was Kevin Crown last week. Michael Jordan wasn't the first person to play basketball.
Facts, bro.
Michael Jordan wasn't the first person to do a dunk.
Bro, I remember something that my teacher told me in art school. He said, yo, the greatest painters steal.
Yeah.
The greatest painters steal.
Yeah.
This basically means that nothing's new under the sun, bro.
No. And if a lot of people want to try and have ownership over those type of things,
right,
you can't.
Right.
But as I said, if there is that, the you're crossing the line section where it's like, okay, you now took the name of my party, you're doing it on the exact same day as me, undercutting me with your price, etc.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even stealing, and just putting it out there to the world.
All right. All right, guys, this is the pre-line. Anyway, to pivot away from that, because I'm not keeping any of that in the podcast. I just found overall that body of work was incredible.
Yeah.
I suggest everybody, you don't have to be a fan of Kanye, but I'm pretty sure if you love music, you're probably a fan of College Dropout.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That was a classic.
Classic, yep.
Like I can go and listen to that right now, and it feels like the first time.
Right.
So big up to the producers behind that. It was a very amazing body of work, and I suggest everybody go and watch that.
Yes, sir.
All right. So last topic before we head out of here.
Yes,
Doing
sir.
pretty good on timing. Last topic before we head out of here is
Health.
health.
And again, I don't want to go into talking about yes, health in terms of physical health is great. But I feel like in order to have a great physical health lifestyle, it all starts with the mind.
Got you. Mental health.
And I mean, we talked about it on our first episode, saying like mental health is a big thing, especially in our culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like how we invest into crypto, into stocks, and all kind of other things, we need to invest into our mind.
Got you.
Again, there's a lot of stigmatization on, getting therapy, getting help, especially in the Black community, right? And it's okay. I'm here to tell you, like, it's okay to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
It's weird. Like, I hear that, and I think, yeah, it does make sense. I think I've even suggested it to you.
You have.
But when I break it down and think about it, like, yeah, I'll speak to friends. But even then, like, y'all listening because you're my friends.
Right.
And it's weird to think that I'm going to somebody to open up, like, to my most vulnerable state and just...
Yeah, because we have that thing where we're like, yo, we don't want nobody knowing our business.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are professional people. I'm pretty sure they can get in a lot of trouble if they go and be spreading your information all over the place.
Yeah, facts.
Right? So, and I mean, like, we're the only ones that have that trust issue when it comes down to therapy. Caucasians do it all the time. The Chinese do it all the time. The East Indians, they do it all the time. They have people in those spaces where they can go to and talk.
Yeah.
Right? Why are we the last ones to accept that?
I think it's stigmatized from our predecessors.
It is.
So I don't know if you've prepared any, so to speak, but are there any actual practical, like, methods that you could suggest? Like, there's one. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no, go. What were we saying?
No, there's one that I heard of. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's called Talkspace.
Okay.
And this is actually, like, you don't have to go to anybody.
Right.
You could pick up your phone, and there's a hotline, and you could speak to somebody through the phone.
Right.
So I'm sure you could set up, to speak with them directly and have appointments set.
Right.
But that eliminates the barrier of, like, you sitting down and being face to face with somebody and saying what you have to say.
Right.
You could do this through the phone.
Right.
Now, in terms of, like, tapping the wire or anything like that, and if you go into this to talk about your drug dealings and this, you might want to slow down a little bit. All right? Because we don't know. We saw The Wire. And that was 2000 and what? All right, it's 2022. Oh, gosh. There's way more stuff out there. But that's just an option,
I'm pretty sure there's spaces like I heard that one. I think that one's in the States. I'm not sure what's up here in Canada. Yeah. But I know there's apps where you can even text, bro. You can even text at certain hours of the night or, throughout the day. And there's registered therapists that can, help you out. I know for myself, me and my wife actually looked into marriage counseling or marriage therapy, right? Yeah. Because not gonna lie, marriage is hard. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting to a point now where, I can say and talk with my wife with certain things, but there's gonna be a time where that same feeling that you have with your wife is not the same as before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to develop a healthy relationship, especially with your spouse, right, you're gonna need somebody to help you out. Yeah. And I feel like therapy is key in anything you do. Yeah. Like, you could be single, just having that person that is not your friend. You going to them and expressing how you feel is key. Yeah. Especially in the society that we're living in today.
Yeah. And like, with that being said too, these are your friends. So they're going to, sometimes if it's your real friend, they're going to put you in a place regardless.
Exactly.
So your friend a lot of time is going to give you that fluffy answer that you probably want to hear.
Right.
Whether or not you're right.
Right.
But trained professionals will deduce your situation to the best of their abilities, but that's the thing. They're trained.
Yeah.
and they study how to deal with certain scenarios and are literally taught in order the best ways to help you.
Right.
So yeah, definitely speaking to somebody is an option.
Yeah. And just to tie in, like, with physical health now, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, physical health starts with the mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to prepare mentally in order to get stuff done. Like again, we've been saying that we want to work out. Why haven't we started yet? Why? Because we're battling in our mind.
Yep.
We're battling in our mind. Like, yeah, I'll wait till next week to work out. I'll wait till the next day to start eating healthy. Mm-hmm. But it all starts in the mind. And I came across something on Instagram where I think it was a recent interview with Russell Wilson. I'm not sure if you know who that is. He's a footballer. Ciara's husband. Yeah. And he has said that he invests $1 million a year. $1 million a year to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So whether it's like, paying for like, workout sessions or supplements and going for special body treatments, he's spending $1 million. Same with LeBron. LeBron does that too. Just to maintain the high performance in whatever they're doing, right?
I'm there scratching my neck, seeing the little $11 and something cents coming out of the Fit for Less.
We used to pay for that. You didn't stop.
No. Well, it froze over the time, right?
But now
it came back, and I'm seeing it like, God, 11 something. I ain't even go to the gym yet.
But it is a struggle though, bro. Like it's a struggle. Yeah. It's a struggle to get into that mindset. Yeah. But I think once, like, we have to develop. I think we just have to just say that, let's just do it. Like, we have to look at the benefits.
Yeah, but bro, like, okay. And I ain't saying this to get at you in any way per se.
Yeah.
I think the best time that you and I had when it came to working out and when. You could even say it. And you know what it is.
It's Trinidad.
Well, we went to Trinidad. Why? Because we knew the road was coming up and we needed to get into shape.
We're going to break some backs. Yes.
Okay. All right. You're making me do a lot of work this week editing-wise. All right. But we did that for Trinidad, right?
Right.
But even with that, I saw so many similarities between you and I, as well as differences. But I say all that to say we did that period of time, but it was like, what did we say? We said, when we get back, let's do it again. But then,
and what happened?
Certain times when I would message you,
nah,
bro, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Certain times when you would message me,
right?
Nah, bro, I'm busy. But life happened, and that's the reality.
Right.
But I say all that to say, like, a lot of times you got busy, and I felt like, okay, if you weren't into it, I wasn't into it.
Right.
And when I saw you saying you were getting busy, I just kind of left it. And you saying you're busy, it literally made me look in the mirror like, I'm exactly like how this guy is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what you were doing was no different to what I would do.
Right, right.
And it's sad because it's like we need to, and we just can't get over that mental hump of just like allocating a period of time in the day to doing that.
Right, right.
Like, I don't know if you are familiar with it. Transformation Church.
Yeah.
Have you been seeing their posts on Instagram recently?
Pretty much, yeah.
So as a team, they're collectively working out.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying it to say that we have to record it.
Right.
But they're recording it and showing their entire team in the gym putting in work.
Right.
Jim Jones, same thing. Right. He recording all the time. Him and his team in the gym putting in work.
Right.
And to be honest, I think that's what we got to do, bro.
Yeah. That too, like the accountability part, yes, definitely. But for you and for me personally, like, we have to make up our mind that we're gonna do it regardless.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? So if I feel like I can't do it a certain day, you still have to go. You get what I'm saying? It's vice versa. Like,
but how does that work now in terms of if I have a suspicion that it's probably just because you're tired one day and you don't want to do it.
Yeah,
and I want to be enthusiastic to you, but I don't want to overstep.
If we have a goal, if you know that I have a goal, you're gonna push me. If I know that you're gonna have a goal, I'm gonna push you to go. Yeah. It's up to you. At the end of the day, it's your decision. Yeah. If you want to go, you want to go. If you don't, you don't. Yeah. I'm still gonna go. You get what I'm saying? Yes, I still want you to come with me. Obviously, I'm still gonna push you, but at the end of the day, you're making that decision on your own. Yeah. And it will show. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're saying no, most of the times when I want to go out, you're gonna see the results.
Yeah.
So yeah, that accountability part is good, but taking ownership on our own health is very important as well.
Yeah. As I was saying in the first episode, the premiere, I was eating Uber Eats like crazy.
Right.
I was just eating recklessly.
Yeah.
And I ain't gained a crazy amount of weight. I gained because I'm not moving. I'm not going to work anymore. I'm just sitting there eating nonsense. But at the beginning of this year, I made it a mission to say I'm going to eat better.
Right.
Even if it's small incremental steps. And that's a lot of things that I think is what deters us from really making change, is because we decide to like flick a switch one day and say, okay, let's change everything.
Right.
When in actuality, the whole thing is changing patterns in order to get you to a certain place.
Exactly.
One thing I heard today was like, forget all of this big talk about I want to do all of this and change my ways one day.
Right.
Let's simply start by, can you make up your bed in the morning? Every single morning.
Exactly.
Most people, the first week is good.
Right.
Next week, oh shoot, I forgot. You're already on the road.
Right.
After that, I'm tired. All right, and then all of it's forgotten.
Right.
So it's like making the small steps to getting to the better place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it just comes to a point where you're realizing certain things in life. Like we're getting older. Like, you know, like in my family, there's a long history of diabetes.
Yeah, me too.
And thank God I don't have it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to get to a point where like, yo, like one day I stop breathing. Yeah. You know, and that's like a scare for me to work out. No. I can do this now.
Gradual steps.
I can do this now. Like I remember when Tasha always tells me like, yo, you have time to DJ, you have time to work out. You have time you have time to go out with your friends. You have the time to work out. Yeah. It's all about you just making that mental space in your mind to do it.
Mm-hmm. Does Tasha work out?
Does Tasha work out? Yeah, she does. Yeah. She does.
Because some people have it lucky, you know?
Yeah.
Or not necessarily lucky, because your health still might be messed up even if you're small, but some people's genes just work that way.
Right. Yeah.
Where they could be eating whatever they want, doing whatever they want, and they're still slim as ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's weird. And no, it's true, but I honestly think that, and this is included with y'all too that are listening to this, develop a support system, you know, have people that can hold you accountable, but most importantly, hold yourself accountable. And do what you got to do to be healthier. Right. I saw something on the news just yesterday. Cardinal official. I don't know if you saw that with him.
I did see it.
I don't know exactly the specifics.
Yeah.
But he had said, I believe the news reporter abbreviated what he said and said, I was basically subjected to a bed more or less on life support for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And it scared the hell out of him.
Right.
And he said, now that he's up and going, it makes sense just to do things to live as long as you can for you and your family.
Right.
And that's just all where his mindset is at, doing everything he can for himself and his family to live. And that struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
Like I don't think about these things because I don't deal with it directly, but like, you know, you have your two daughters there. It must be hard to think about stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
You don't want something to happen just because you were too lazy to go to the gym, you know?
Yeah.
So that's interesting topics that you brought up. Mental health, any more on that subject? Or
no, just mental, physical. I mean, it starts with your mind.
Yeah.
And then once your mind is like, you know, let's go, I think everything will fall into place.
Yeah. Stuff that we'll dive more into in further episodes, but also things just to keep in mind. You know, beyond getting help, it's also what you consume in your mind that will have a huge impact.
Exactly.
I was watching it was an interview or something along those lines with a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Not a drug dealer, somebody who got addicted to drugs.
Okay.
And his terminology or his way of putting it was that I got into drugs because I was dealing with whatever stress. And I tried it. And yeah, it got me high.
Right.
But I wasn't involved in drugs like that when I first tried it.
Right.
The place where he really went in a downturn was building a community around people that do it often.
Right.
So now, instead of constantly or like just doing it once in a while just to alleviate the stress,
right,
you are around people who are, all right, you want to get high? right? You want to go now? You want to,
right.
And if you're constantly in that cycle, change is not going to be made.
Right.
And it's not necessarily drugs where that's concerned. You know, having the wrong group of people around will lead you into a bad place.
Right.
So understanding what you are absorbing, both through entertainment, through the people that you keep in your surroundings, and who to keep at arm's length. There's certain people that think they're the nicest people in the world, but if you really hear what they say, you know those people that will make jokes behind a laugh, but they're telling the truth type thing? And like...
Yep, I know all about that, bro.
Those type of things, it's just like you can't keep those kind of company in your presence for too long.
Absolutely.
Because not only will it affect you, it might start to change the person that you are.
Exactly.
So all of those things are incorporated with mental health, you know, looking at the right stuff. Mental health, people, it's important.
Yep.
Anyways, that was another episode.
Yes, sir.
Of the People's Podcast. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, we appreciate everybody that's been listening to the show.
Right.
Since the start, we started a brand new platform, as you see, a couple weeks ago, and the trajectory right now is crazy.
Yeah. Just want to say, don't be scared to comment. You know, speak with us on in the comments on SoundCloud, especially on YouTube. So
we know, and we will actually read it. Like we get the notifications, and even though sometimes we may not respond, we do read it, and we want to hear your input on each of these topics as you're listening to them,
right? Through
SoundCloud, through YouTube, whatever. It just takes a few clicks,
right,
to start typing away at what you think about a certain subject.
Exactly.
You know, commenting is definitely important, and we want to hear what you guys have to say. Liking the content, following the content. Don't just click the link and listen.
And share.
Follow and share.
Yeah,
that's key. And it's not just sharing because we're asking you to. It's sharing because this knowledge is important for people to learn.
Yeah.
And some people, like I was this guy, so I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Some people do not care about this kind of stuff, and will not consume any content that's helping them in this way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, are going to complain about what's happening to them, A, B, C, and D. Where if they really just listen to a platform like this, it could really change your life.
Exactly.
So just, you know, we appreciate all of you guys. We understand that you guys have, you know, your own lives and whatnot, but anything you guys could do in terms of helping out the operation and the cause, we truly appreciate it. A few people actually reached out to us.
Yep.
For a couple people wanted to help with the project.
Yeah.
We already potentially have a first sponsor.
Yes, sir.
Who's going to be putting ad space. And the one thing I like about this first sponsor, and I'm sure it's going to work out once we close the deal.
Right.
But he called me directly and he said, Buzz, I need to give you your flowers. Mm-hmm. He said, because we was talking about all these kind of things, but what you put down there and the way you executed this project, and actually like from what we were talking about, and I see it in real life now, you need your flowers, bro. And he was like, I believe in what you guys are doing over there. And I not only want to invest my business just for the sake of getting new customers, but it's also a way of me contributing to help you guys grow as well.
That's love, man.
And that's love. And that's the type of investors who I would rather work with, as opposed to the point where we make it big and all people want to do is crab away at us and take what they can, what equity they can out of our... I'd rather work with people who want to see the culture build and, you know, who would promote us.
Right, exactly.
Just as much as we're going to be promoting them. So once again, people, follow us on all the platforms. The YouTube is where you could see us. So if you have that time, you could watch us on YouTube. That's the People's Podcast, ThePPLs Podcast.
Yes, sir.
And we're also on SoundCloud and Spotify. We're currently working on Apple Podcasts, but Apple is just being Apple. So that might take a couple weeks, but that's under construction. Yeah. The rest of the infrastructures are in place.
Are you a shareholder in Apple?
Best believe.
Oh, well, you need to contact Tim Cook right now.
Exactly. Excuse me. All the way at the bottom floor. Listen up. And on top of that, that's another thing I forgot to mention. Back to the wealth section. There are certain companies that you can invest in that pay dividends.
Okay.
So if you invest if you buy one stock, you could get like a small percentage of whatever you've invested returned to you.
Okay.
I think quarterly or something like that.
Okay.
They give out money just for you holding stocks. So again, that's another thing to look into.
Right.
You're making money now passively without even thinking about it.
Right.
On top of your money building over time with the company.
Right.
You know, so anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate all of you, and we encourage you just to share the amazing content.
Right.
Get it out there to the people, because this is for the people and we love the people. It's the People's Podcast, and we out.
Peace.